Hello, welcome to my channel Conscious Growing, and I'm Matthias. And today I want to talk about something that is a little bit underrated in the process of recovery from anxiety and chronic symptoms. And what I want to talk about is indecision and suggestibility. And they are very close to each other, as you might realize when I talk about it, or even without talking about it. So what I want to point out here is the matter of fact that when we are sensitized, when our nervous system is sensitized, when we have a lot of symptoms, when we feel lots of anxiety in our system, it is normal that everything is more intense. You know that. It's like your moods are more intense, you have mood swings, so it can happen that in one moment you feel quite okay and then the next moment you get this awful anxiety or symptoms or both. And so what happened is that the brain is in a constant alarm state. It perceives danger in everything. It perceives danger in the sensations within ourselves. It perceives danger in many cases even just because of our own thoughts or these thoughts that are produced. And so this brings us in this hyperarousal state. And then in this hyperarousal state, we also go into the world, maybe. And even if it's just short steps, maybe it's just the grocery across the street, but you're in this state and you go there and there are all these people and this music and everybody's in a rush and you're in the middle of it because of this hyper arousal. You get even more scared. And of course it's never the grocery store, it's the state you're in. It's this sensitive state you're in that causes all these feelings and states. And so out of habit, everyone who's in this period in his life tends to put his full focus on the brain, on the thinking. And even more, it's not only just various thinking, it's something very specific. We want to find a solution for this. The brain is operating and is trying to find a solution. And in a way, it's a little bit funny because the brain is in alarm, hyper alert, arousal, sensitization. And it's the same one who's looking for the solution in this kind of state. So it's the same, like, let me bring an example. You have a puppy. So you get this puppy and the puppy is 12 weeks old and you bring him home. You bought him, bring him home. And then you try to teach your puppy. Sit down, lie down, stop, be a little good boy, all this kind of stuff. And you start to teach him and you give some little goodies to help him in this. But all in all, the puppy is in this arousal state. Everything is new. So he wants to smell everything, he wants to explore everything, he runs to all the other dogs, he runs to various people, even strangers, and he's so friendly and Oben wants to meet everyone. And so he's in this hyper-arousal state. So you start to teach him, to show him some borders. And your brain is this puppy. Your brain is out of control. For the moment, it's just temporary. But you have to understand how this functions. So it's not, you don't need to be a neurologist, or you don't have to understand all the scientific stuff behind, but what you have to see and know is how this all functions. So it produces its own problems. So it produces a problem and then it throws the problem to you and you try to work it out. And you sit there all day long, you try to figure out how you can get out of this prison, out of this awful situation. And then out of habit, you're thinking about it all day long, all day long. And this is so exhausting. And because it's so exhausting and the brain, the thinking brain is so overwhelmed that you can't make decisions anymore. Because there are no capacities, because the brain is involved in other things, trying to find the solutions. So there's no capacities left to think rational. There are no capacities left to make decisions. So then, if the brain is exhausted by this, how can it be possible to make decisions in this exhausted state? And for me, the point is that it's totally important, necessary, that we start slowly to make decisions again, even if we don't feel like. So, in other words, it is enough to start with small decisions. So it's just one example. For you might say, okay, you wake up in the morning, you feel exhausted, you had a bad night, maybe even nightmares, I don't know, lots of stuff. Yeah, the machine went on, tired, wired. And so your brain says, I'm so exhausted, we have to stay in bed today. I can't get up. Let's stay in bed. And then you go into this dialogue with your brain. You think, should I stay in bed? Should I get up? What is my decision? And I talk from myself, and I guess you might be able to relate to this, is when I started this inner dialogue, the what ifs, and oh yeah, when I do too much today, then I will be even more exhausted. Maybe I have a setback then, or maybe this flare is even stronger, and so on and so on. So I spent amounts of time and effort to struggle with this inner voice. But then later on in my recovery, I realized that I have to make decisions, even if it's the small ones. So coming back to this example, then I decided, okay, I get up now. I go to the bathroom. I brush my teeth. I take a shower. I do all this kind of stuff. Then when this is done, okay, then I make a new decision. I make a cup of tea. In the meantime, the brain is trying to convince me that this is all too much and tries to hold me back. See, look how weak your legs feel. Look how exhausted you still are. But if you listen to this voice all the time, you can't make progress, because this voice wants to hold you back from life, from living, even the most simple stuff. And yes, as we know, it's not your enemy, it's your protective mechanism, but it's your choice and your responsibility to break this habit of the brain and to show I can make decisions. And so here we're using some kind of momentum. In other words, I start with a first step. And this first step is going to the bathroom, in this example. Have a cup of tea. And then I make a new decision. And with time, what happened to me was that, for a certain amount of time, it happened that I was still involved in this voice, that voice that wanted to convince me that nothing is possible. Sometimes I was in this kind of dialogue, but the more I practiced it, the more neutral I became, the more this clarity in me and my prefrontal cortex became stronger. And then with this decision making, I got power back, some self-empowerment. And it felt shitty at times, I can tell you. It wasn't fun at all. And I felt weak and exhausted. But I did it in a slow and steady manner. And I allowed my thoughts to be noisy. I allowed everything. But the difference was I wasn't caught up so often anymore. That was a real change for me. And my decision became stronger. And this is related to suggestibility, because when the brain is overwhelmed, when our capacities are overwhelmed, when we think too much, when we are too much solution orientated, and when we can't make decisions, then of course the topic of suggestibility also comes up. Because if we can't decide, if we feel a victim in this state, then of course we look left and right. So if we are not the ones who can make decisions, we need someone out there making the decisions for us. And so just to make it clear, this isn't a black and white thing, because when you're in the thick of it, of course it's okay to have someone. It's okay to have a counselor. It's okay to have someone who can bring you back on the path and the clarity and the understanding. There's nothing against it, not at all. But it's good to have in mind that you don't give up this responsibility fully, that you start to make little steps for yourself, little decisions for yourself, in this frame of your abilities. And that's enough. And if you make 5 or 6 or 10 decisions for yourself, even if it's such small ones I was talking about, I'm not talking about the big ones like, should I leave my partner? Should I quit this job? And this kind of stuff. It's more complex, of course. But what I mean is really through these little decisions, you get more able to also make bigger decisions with time. You start slowly, and then with this attitude, you build a new muscle in your brain. And this muscle will grow through training, through practice. This is how our whole system always works. you teach, you tell, you show. So it's first the mind, and then the body follows with time. This is a principle. So back to suggestibility. When you start to make more decisions for yourself again, you decide. And when you decide, then you are already in contact with this topic. And then you become more aware. Oh yes, I can't make decisions anymore. I always ask my husband what to do. I always ask my partner what to do. I always call my best friend to say, hey, what do you think about it? And it's all okay to a certain degree. It's natural to have exchange and ask people for their opinion and so on. But here, this is a deeper thing. It's something you want to build up resilience in yourself. And this, a part of it is making decisions again, small ones, and then with time, bigger ones. And then you learn, wow, I can do it. I make the decision and then I follow. And then I don't need this suggestibility anymore because I'm standing for myself and I make my own progress in this. And then this is also fading with time. And you become more who you are. This is very powerful, very powerful. Don't underestimate it. And not many people speak about this specific topic, I would say. I'm not sure. But what I found in this TMS community, that it was not so often mentioned. That the brain perceives a threat, yes, we hear this all the time. But this is a little bit more subtle. But it has lots of power. All right, so I'm gonna end up here for today, and I hope you can take some value. And if you like the video, please thumbs up, or if you have a comment or anything you want to share, please feel free to leave a comment. I will answer it for sure. And if you haven't done yet, please subscribe to the channel to help spread these informations. And also, if you don't get the videos regularly, I heard that there, when you click on the bell on the on the right side of your screen, there you can click the bell, and then you click all. And when you do this, then you get the informations for the videos when I upload a new one. Just in case you haven't done this, it's a little detail. So I wish you the very best, and we will talk soon. Bye bye.